Hello, welcome. This is Jean with Inky Studio, and I am doing here part 3 of this lunch bag accordion spine little journal that we started. And this is, if you want to know how this was constructed, I will link down below part 1 and part 2 to kind of catch you up in case you missed those. And today we're going to go and just kind of do some pieces of ephemera, and we're going to cover up the outside spine and just give you some inspiration of some ideas you might want to try inside your journal. I have been away for a couple of weeks and visiting family and friends, so I usually take a social media break when I travel like that, and I haven't been around checking up on it, but I am getting into the groove now. And remember when we constructed this journal, we cut off the bottoms of our lunch bags and we ended up with these pieces like this. So I'm going to show you how I used one of these pieces in the journal. And for this particular project and for the effect I wanted, it was important that these two edges meet pretty close together. Now, not every project needs to be this way, but I wanted these to meet up well. And so I chose the ones that were the closest. And I printed out a scene, and this is a woodland scene. This is from the Graphics Fairy in their woodland bundle, I believe. But it wouldn't have to be a scene. It could be anything. It could be like a large flower on here, or just it could be anything. But I really wanted this since I'm doing a woodland themed type of journal. So I printed it out, and before I cut it in half, now I've already constructed this and it's inside the journal, but I'm just going to show you the steps I went through. Before I cut this in half, I laid the whole scene down how I wanted it to be on the front of it. And I marked where the split was, and then I cut it. Because if you cut it exactly in half, it probably will not work that well, because I have found that these two sides vary in their width. You know, sometimes one side is more narrow than the other, and as it was in this case. So I would not split my image until I laid it over how I wanted it to appear on the cover, and then I would mark where the split is at. So just kind of give you a heads up on that. And before I glued one of the sides down, I put in a little tab, and so I'm using a piece of jute here, but you could use string, you could use cloth, you could use a paper tab, whatever. Just something that you can pull up on to open up this little pocket deal here. And after that, I went ahead and I glued in a piece of decorative paper that, you know, was in the bottom here, just to make it kind of pretty. So let's take a look at the finished one that I did. And here it is. And you just can pull up on this like so, and you can load this up with ephemera or anything like that. And when I glued it in, I did make a pocket. And you wouldn't have to, but I put a pocket here on the side, and I really think this came out so cute. And you know, being that it's a woodland journal, I just really like this idea. So that's what I did with one of those pieces on the bottom. I also went through and glued up this gusset. So there on each page there was a gusset here opened up like so, and I glued them together and I put a tab in there. Gluing the tab together and placing it in here and just gluing it down like so. You could use pieces of cloth. You could use whatever you would like to mark that tab, or you don't have to use anything at all and just glue them together. I think it's provided more stability for the pages by doing that. So that was just sort of what I wanted to do. Might be something you do too. We did do these flaps here of envelopes, and on the inside of them I put in a belly band so I can tuck things on the inside. So let's just move on now to the spine. And for the spine, I wanted to reinforce it a little bit, so I cut a piece of cardstock that was just narrow enough to fit the width of my spine. Now, you might find that one end will be slightly wider than the other end. As you can see, this is, well, maybe it's harder to see, but it's about 1/8 of an inch wider here than it is down there. And that is really inevitable because of the folding process is not always perfect. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue this particular piece to the back of that spine just to stabilize it a bit. And I'm going to do with Fabri-Tac, and this is the Herculean event of squeezing out at the end of the tube. It gets so hard to get out sometime. I heard that you can put nail polish remover inside, acetone or something, to make it thinner, make Fabri-Tac thinner. Let me know if you've heard that, or if you've tried that, or has that worked for you. I don't know. So I'm just going to put that down, and a little bit of an excess here on some of these places because it's so thick now. And get that off. Now, to put this down, or to glue it in such a way that it is really flat, I'm going to need to turn it over like so and press down into these grooves here, because the accordion spine will tend to want to curve around and not lay totally flat until you press it down there. And this way you can make sure that everything has gotten contact in there, just like so. All right, and so now what we'll have to probably do is I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to set it up like this, put something heavy on each side of it, and just let it set for about, maybe 10 minutes, just to make sure that there's good contact and it dries well. As you can see, you probably would not have to put cloth over this. That's what I plan on doing. You could put down a printed cardstock and just leave it like that. You just want to make sure that your edges are glued down very well so they don't lift. And if you find out, like here, it's a little bit wider than your journal and it sticks out, you can just take your scissors and cut that down a little bit. Another thing you could do is you could use washi tape and put down, glue down a bit of washi tape on that particular edge. You'll have to make sure you get it nice and even, but that's another thing you could do for those edges if you're worried about them lifting. But just making sure that the edges are nice and glued, I think you'll be fine. But I'm going to take a piece of muslin that is just wide enough to wrap in, about a 1/2 inch on the front and on the back, and across the back of the cover like so. I think in this case, if you want to know, this is a 2-inch strip, 2 inches wide, and the length of a journal. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. I'm going to use glitter glue. White glue would probably be good. Fabri-Tac could work if you smoothed it out very well, but sometimes with Fabri-Tac and muslin, it shows through a lot. And I'm just going to lay down a little bit here on the front first, like that. And put down the first little bit of an edge. There we go. And I've torn this piece, hand torn the fabric, so it's all got an edge to it there, a little frayed edge. And then we'll just come in here, and I might be too close to the camera. Let me back down a little bit. Just putting glue in this area. And then I'm going to go through with my finger and kind of smooth it out. And by smoothing it out, I can avoid too much of the glue showing through. All right, so you want to pull it down nice. And then we'll come to this point here. Take off that glue. Ah, these napkins are so thin. And we'll just glue up this little area here. Put a little glue right here on the edge to make sure that that part's down. And there we go. All right. Well, at least it didn't cover up his face. All right. So that will work then for the spine. It'll reinforce it and give it, because it's fabric, it will, stretch well when you flip the pages back and forth. So that will be on the spine like so. I'm going to do more. There's more in here I want to finish up. This, I think this is going to be the cover. I kind of like that look a little bit. Anyway, so the next time we get together, I will do a flip through, and I have a little surprise the next video. So hope you tune in next week, and you'll see what it is. So thank you so much for viewing. I so appreciate your comments. If you are going to try this, or have tried it, or want to try it, why don't you let me know in the comments how you think, what you might do with this journal. What kind of theme might you give it? It is, you are using bags, so it kind of speaks to a grungy look, I guess, or maybe not. But let me know, maybe you can find white lunch bags. Now that would be really cool. That could make a whole different kind of journal. And so let me know. And if you have done one, I would just love to see pictures of it. If you want to, please email them to me. My email address is down below in the description box. I would love to see them. And if you let me, I would love to share them on the community page. So thank you so much, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.